Don't break down, break through. With everything that's going on right now, it's very important that people know that. Don't break down, break through. This is just a test. This is testing you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. This is a test. This is testing your strengths in those areas. This is testing your stamina and your endurance in those areas. And this is also one of those examples of an obstacle that's set in place to build your stamina and to boost your endurance and your self-confidence in yourself and in what you know. See, because oftentimes people learn things, they come across a lot of information, but they're not so quick to apply it. They're quick to obtain it, but not so quick to apply it. That's why you see more consciousness than you see conscientiousness. So, with everything that's going on, this is the perfect opportunity to put all that you've learned to the test and apply it. Everything that you've learned about health, everything that you've learned about disease, everything that you've learned spiritually, everything that you've learned about the mind or the mental faculties and how it works and how what you entertain you give life to, and how thought has power, and how this is an illusion and none of this is real. Well, all of that is being put to the test. The laws of attraction, the think it and it shall be, that I create my own reality, all of that is being tested right now. A lot of people's actions aren't lining up with their words. There's a lack of conscientiousness or application of the knowledge that people have accumulated and have been sharing and posting for quite some time now. Some of these same people you see in a panic, they're worried. They're in a fearful place. They're lost in their emotions. And a lot of them are just as emotionally disturbed as those who are unaware, those who don't claim to be conscious. See, this is also a time where you can separate the real from the fake, the talkers from the doers. Because if you truly have confidence in what you say, then what you do will line up. So, if you've been studying, let's say, health for some time now, you've took classes, you took courses, this is a perfect opportunity to take what you've learned and apply it. Use those herbs and those minerals to heal yourself, or actually to be proactive and to build an environment that a virus can't thrive in. Because a lot of people, because they're still caught up in watching the news, listening to news propaganda, which are just staged agendas, and the things that the news are telling them, and the news saying they're getting their information directly from the government, the CDC, the Department of Health, or whatever, and they're encouraging you to do certain things that may oppose what you've been learning all of this time, studying health, or naturopathic health, or healing. Do you disregard what you've learned for the information that the media is giving you, Now remember, the media is the most effective deceiver in America. It's funny how people pick and choose when they want to trust the media or believe the media. But then a lot of it is placebo, because people see other people do or act a certain way, they do the same. Well, I don't know if this is real or not, but I'm just going to take these precautions just in case. So you're putting yourself in the same circle as those individuals who are unaware, those that are ignorant, those who lack right knowledge. Because if what you learned you're applying, then you already know what to do to be proactive and to boost your immune system and to create an environment in your body that a virus cannot live in, or that it definitely could not thrive in, or have the chance to grow and dominate your system, causing it to shut down, leading to physical death. If that's a worry or concern that you have, then you don't have a lot of confidence in what you've been learning. Like I said, this isn't a time to break down. This is a time to break through. This is where you put everything that you learned to the test. And you're going to either break down or you're going to break through. See, only the strong survive. So now we're going to see who's strong and who's weak. And when I'm referring to strong and weak, I'm not just talking about strong or weak physically. I'm talking about mentally. Strong-minded and the weak-minded. You'll see a lot of weak-minded individuals trying to encourage or deter strong-minded individuals from taking the course of action in the direction that they're taking. Stay on your path. Keep doing what you're doing. Because they're telling you what they're telling you out of fear, out of worry, out of doubt, out of ignorance. They're not being logical. They're being emotional. And they're not in control of their emotions. That energy, that's emotion, is being controlled by outside forces. News, media, propaganda. And then a lot of people don't do their own research. They depend on Facebook to tell them everything, Instagram to tell them everything, or whoever they listen to or follow, or whatever groups they belong to on these social media platforms, as opposed to looking into things themselves. There's a lot of questionable things going on. There's a lot of suspicious activity going on right now. And people are so scared of being attacked by a virus that's just waiting outside to beat them up that they're not thinking logically. They're just scared to go outside because they think it's a virus out there waiting to attack them. It's just hiding behind a bush, waiting to jump out on you and get you. Come on, they got people superstitious. And virus education. People really need to educate themselves on viruses and how viruses work, instead of listening to all of this misinformation that's keeping them scared. See, some people are too scared to think for themselves. Some people don't have enough confidence in their own thoughts that they look to outsiders to think for them, especially in times like this. Your slave makers know this. Your oppressors know this. See, the same people who create the problem are going to be the same people who are going to create a so-called solution to the problem. They're going to create the problem. They're going to watch your reaction, and then they're going to give you a solution suitable to that reaction. And in the midst of how people are reacting, people are going to be willing to sacrifice a lot of their freedoms for this false sense of security. Because they're still looking for something or someone outside of themselves to save them or to do the work for them. So like I said, this is not a time to break down. This is a time to break through. This is a time to tap in. Really do a lot of self-reflecting and taking time out to really analyze what's going on, what you're being told, and thoroughly dissecting that and discerning this information without going into a panic. Because if you're over emotional, you're not going to think clearly. It's going to cloud your judgment. And when your judgment is clouded, you can't see things for what they are. So that makes it easier for the current powers that be to execute and maneuver whatever agendas they have set in place. They throw distractions out constantly to keep you from looking at what you really should be looking at. Everyone's focused on the puppet. They're mad at the puppet. But again, they're not looking at the hand up the puppet's ass. They're not looking at the ventriloquist. They're focusing on the dummy. So you have to look behind the scenes. Just like you have to read between the lines and connect the dots. There's a lot of things that just don't connect properly, that just don't make sense. So everything that's going on right now, it's either going to make or break you. Because like I said, it's a test. It's testing your endurance. It's testing your ability to keep peace. And peace is just the ability to remain calm in the midst of chaos, to keep order. You don't want to lose your shit with everybody else's. Just because they're losing their mind, because they're going insane behind everything that's going on. Don't allow that energy to transfer to you. And then you become possessed by that, and you start taking on those ways and actions, or those thoughts and actions. Stand firm in your circle. Keep like-minded individuals around you. Don't entertain low vibrational individuals because they're toxic. It's not a virus that you have to worry about. It's them. They are the virus. Their mentality is toxic, and it has the ability to go viral. So that's the virus that you need to avoid, toxic people. People with no urge or no type of instinctual or people who have no urge or no instinct or better judgment. On how to view what's going on currently. Those are people that you should be leery of, because they're going to try and spread their ignorance, their fear, and their worry onto you. A lot of people with all of this stay in the house, having people stay in, telling them not to go outdoors, and people are getting mad at people for going outside and telling them they're the reason why this thing keeps spreading and they need to stay their asses in the house and different things like that. That's paranoia. Where are you getting that from? The same idiot box that's been misinforming you all the while. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last time. The idiot box is giving you information that's coming from the same people who unleashed a virus on the masses. If you're being victimized, do you go to the victimizer for help? Do you take the advice from the person who's victimizing you or who's preying on you? Does the prey go to the predator for advice? The only advice the predator's going to give the prey is how to die, how to be better prey. Not how to survive or how not to be prey. How would that benefit them? Would they feed off of you? Your consumption is needed for them to have life. That's what they thrive off of. Your attention is what gives them life. So of course they're going to misinform you because you're a food source. And they're not wasting any meals. They're not wasting any food. After this is over, a lot of people are going to have mental health issues. They're going to have to seek some type of mental health counseling. A lot of people, this is a lot for them. They've never stayed in the house this long. Most people always go outside because they don't know what to do with themselves when they're alone. They don't know how to be alone. They can't even take the voices. So they want to drown them out. They don't like being alone because that's when you really have to truly deal with yourself. And those voices you hear, they're questioning who you are. These voices are maybe even urging you to evaluate yourself and urging you to make certain changes that could be beneficial for you. And the thing about ego is offended by truth. So being alone, sometimes the voice of truth becomes too loud. So these people seek outside sources to drown out that voice. So they're constantly on their phones, social media, constantly trying to find something to do to be entertained. And most of this entertainment is coming via electronic device or through other people. So you have people who can't sit still. They have to always be around other people because they can't take being alone. And then when they're around other people, they're not even having real social interactions. They're having superficial social interactions. Most of them can't put their phones down long enough to actually have a true or real or genuine or organic interaction with other people. They're having inorganic interactions. They just want to be around people because it makes them feel comfortable. So it could be 4 people sitting in the room and they're all on their phones. And everything that they're talking about is based on what they're seeing inside that little box in their hand. So people have already had issues with mental illness. Now it's going to intensify. You're going to have a lot of people who are going to have post-traumatic stress disorder behind all of this. Why? Because they weren't prepared mentally. You're going to have a lot of people whose health is going to decline. Why? Because they weren't prepared physically. People have been programmed, most people have been programmed to be reactionaries. They're not being proactive. They didn't make it a habit or practice proactiveness. So now they're just reacting to all of the chaos, everything that's going on, and it's causing them to break down mentally. It's too much to take in. It's causing a overload. And for some people, they may have breakdowns mentally because they weren't prepared for how to handle this. They don't have the proper coping mechanisms set in place to even filter or even to process what's going on right now. So there's a break. Insanity. I mean, come on, when you got people fighting over things like toilet paper, like, then it's like, what are all you constipated asses going to do with this toilet paper anyway? When most of these people fighting over toilet paper probably are shitting like once every 3 to 5 days. Put the toilet paper down, grab an enema. You might want to flush yourself out or get your bowels moving before you start hoarding toilet paper. But why toilet paper? Because the idiot box told you. Toilet paper, hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes. They say do, and the people do. Whoever the they is. This they do a lot of double talking. They say a lot of harmful things and present them in ways where they don't seem as harmful. So they have you committing acts of self-neglect. But because they worded it and put it in a pretty package, it goes undetected. Ignorance and laziness are the leading causes of death. What you see right now is a pandemic of fear, first and foremost. Because there's been plenty of viruses around that came before this. There'll be others that come after this. And there are ones who came before this that have killed more people. This virus hasn't even taken out more people than the flu. But yet, people act like it's just the most deadliest thing out there. And it's just waiting outside for them to come outside so they can get them. So now we're talking about viruses like they're the boogeyman, and you're hiding in the house because you're scared the boogeyman is going to get you if you come out. It's like a little kid hiding in the closet or hiding under the bed because you're afraid the boogeyman is going to get you. See how these people insult your intelligence? This is what you're letting the government tell you. This is how you're letting the government talk to you. Whether it be via the CDC, the DOH. People are too trusting of these different government agencies. Whatever they're telling you to do, they're telling you to do it for a reason. But whatever that reason is, it's not for your best interest. It's not in your best interest to abide by what they're telling you. Educate yourself and practice self-care. That's the best form of health care. If you want something done right, do it yourself. If you want to know for sure, look into it yourself. Don't take the word of the media and don't follow the actions of the masses, because most of them are sheep and they are asleep. You don't want to be a part of that. You want to stand out. You want to be outstanding. And you can't be outstanding if you're trying to stand in with the crowd. You either stand out or you stand in. But you can't do both. But yeah, it's all a test. And I see like this virus thing has caused people to throw a lot of what they've learned out of the window. You don't hear anybody talking that law of attraction shit right now. It's about thinking positive and positive affirmations and yeah. What happened to all of that? Why don't you think positively and positively affirmate this shit away? Use positive affirmations to make this go away. Or use positive affirmations to not allow yourself to be affected by what's going on right now. And me saying this, I'm not saying this from a place or from the position of a person who's been quarantined or put themselves on lockdown. I go outside every day. I have an essential occupation. I've been dealing with people who have had mental and physical illness or been dealing with people with mental and physical illness for 15 years. Give or take a few. So the environment that I'm in is the environment that they're telling you to stay away from. And I go out and I go into that environment every day. And I come home every day. But I don't entertain the doubt, the fear. I don't have worries. I'm very proactive. A lot of the things that they are encouraging people to do are things that I've already been doing naturally. Outside of traveling for commerce or to do business or to provide a service for people, I'm in the house. I'm at home. Or I'm out in nature, either walking the trail or doing fitness activities. But I'm not mingling with large crowds of people. That's just not my thing. And it's not because of a virus. It's because low vibrational people are toxic. And that energy can spread. That's something that I don't want to contract. I'm more concerned about contracting that low vibrational energy than I would be some virus that they're telling me that's just floating around outside waiting to attack me. Universal precautions is something that you should have been practicing already. So one of the benefits of this whole virus thing is it's convincing a lot of you nasty asses to practice better sanitary habits and to wash your hands more and things like that. Because prior to this, a lot of people, they weren't washing their hands, and they're supposed to be adults. And they're constantly touching things and then putting their fingers on their face and in their mouth and then eating things and putting things in unclean surfaces. And then they wonder why they're always sick with a virus. People were getting sick with viruses long before this virus. Most people are mistaking this virus and the symptoms of this virus with this year's flu virus that still wiped out more people than this coronavirus. See, this year's flu virus caused fever and respiratory illness. It was a respiratory virus that was attacking people's respiratory, so it made them feel like they had the flu along with pneumonia. But out of fear and propaganda, the first assumption that the masses are making when experiencing or seeing someone who's having these symptoms, they associate it with the corona. Why? Because the most effective deceiver in America told you to do so. Don't break down, break through. Stay strong mentally, stay strong physically, and stay strong spiritually. Because right now, this is a test for all three.